Hi, I'm Caneel Joyce. I'm a former startup operator myself. I managed many teams. I've been a leader. I've been a founder, and I came into coaching after actually being an academic. I went and got a PhD when I realized that the level of conversation that I wanted to be playing at is different than the one that I had licensed to play at when I was, 25 and running marketing at a startup. I saw my own startup beginning to work against itself, and what had previously been healthy behaviors of the leadership team becoming corrosive and non-productive. And I was really fascinated in that. So I went and got a PhD and discovered in the process that you truly do have the ability to immediately make an impact on the coaching culture of your company. You absolutely do. I really believe that whether or not you're going to create a new initiative or program or implement some huge system, it really does come from you. So I'm very excited to explore that together. So the magic of coaching is by asking questions, and we'll get into more of the craft of this later, but by asking questions, being curious, seeing people as creative, resourceful, and whole, which are kind of fundamental tenets of how I do coaching, and I think it's pretty common practice. By doing that, you create a container where each person can recognize their own impact on the system, their own sources of power, conscious and previously non-conscious, and their own responsibility, which means they can understand better how to create the changes that they want. It actually ends up checking almost every manager's box of what they're trying to create in their team. It's all about just creating a little bit more opening. So that can look really different, as you're pointing out. There's a really broad spectrum there. So for somebody, creating a little bit more opening than there was before might be, instead of taking this meeting, sitting across from each other at a desk, we're going to sit, kind of at corners. I'm going to sit here and you're going to sit this. We're going to be like a little bit closer. We're going to change up the scenery, or we might go for a walk. It might be that I take out a piece of paper, blank paper, and as I'm talking to you, I just write a word down and we're both looking at it together. That can feel very vulnerable for somebody who's not ready for this type of question, or who doesn't want it. Maybe for some people, that's never going to be the style with which they want to receive coaching. A small way to start with this is by adding, if you're walking through some material with somebody, such as a performance review or a set of goals, yours or theirs, one thing that you can do to create more of a coaching relationship is to add a beat where you're just silent and you're noticing them, and you're asking a little teeny tiny question, like, anything come up for you when I ask this? Does this ring true to you? How does this sound to you? What are you learning here? I have a lot of different tools I could refer people to. I'll share a couple of my favorite books, and then I have a tool that you can download that I can offer you as well. So two of my favorites are Leadership and Self-Deception. I think is a fantastic book that provides a really useful framework, especially if you're in a culture of blame. I love 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership from the Conscious Leadership Group. And then I have a guide for running a one-on-one on my website. It's just a downloadable cheat sheet, Caneel.com. So, and that guide actually aligns really well with using 15.5. Even if you haven't started using 15.5 yet, it's going to set you up really well as a foundation for what do I do in the meeting? And then later on, you can plug in 15.5 if you're like going to sign up next week, for instance. But I think that the number of tools available is not the problem. There are so many. It's really about aligning what are the tools that are going to celebrate my company's culture and values, as well as invite us into that space between my big vision of where I think we could go and where we currently are now. So just so much room for creativity and so many resources available out there.